Okay, continue on page, we're going to go straight to your turn on page 846. Your turn number 4. It says identify the transformations of the graph of f of x equals log base b of x that produce the graph of the given function g of x. Then graph g of x on the same coordinate plane as the graph of f of x. By applying the transformation to the asymptote x equals 0 and to reference points 1, 0, and b1, also state the domain and range of g of x using set notation. Alright, so we're going to use the two reference points 1, 0, and b1. Now it's going to change every time depending on what your b is. Since this is natural log here, our b is going to be e in this case. So it would be e, comma 1. Those are our two reference points on this particular problem because it says natural log there. When it says natural log, our b is e. So we will make our t-chart. What are we doing to the x? We are opposite of that. We are subtracting 4. And to the y, I'm going to, all of this right here is going to be my y. So it would be 3y plus 2. So when I put 1 in for x, 1 minus 4 is negative 3. If I put 0 in for y, that would be 0 plus 2 is 2. E in for x, I would go second division, get my e, minus 4 will give me negative 1.28. And then 1 in for y, 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. So there's my new points. I'm going to graph them. Negative 3, 2. Negative 1.28, 5. And my graph would look like this. It has a vertical asymptote at negative 4. I know that because that's what my h here is. So if I describe the transformation, I know it translates 4 units left. It translates, because of the k over here, 2 units up. And it has a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. What is my domain? X such that x is greater than negative 4. And my range, all real numbers. Your turn number 5. My reference points are going to be 1, 0 and E1. I mean B1, sorry. B1. So what is my base in this case? It's a 2, so this would be 2, 1. What's happening to the x? Minus 1. And to the y, 1/2 y plus 2. When I put a 1 in here, 1 minus 1 will give me 0. If I put 0 in here, that will be 0 plus 2 is 2. I put a 2 in here, 2 minus 1 is 1. And 1 times 1/2 is 1/2 plus 2 is 2 and 1/2, or 5/2. Plot those points, 0, 2. 1, 2.5. Describe the transformation. It translates from right here, left 1 unit. It translates up 2 units from here, and it has a vertical compression by 1/2. My domain, where is my vertical asymptote? I didn't draw it very good here because it should have gone right there. So my graph should have come down next to -1, because I get it right here with my H. It should have came down next to -1 and not across this way. This is not right. X such that X is greater than -1. My range, all real numbers. Example 6. My reference points are 1, 0, and B. There's not a base here, so when there's not a base here, it's automatically 10, 1. Those are my 2 reference points. My t-table would be x plus 1. My y would be -3y minus 4. If I put a 1 here, 1 plus 1 is 2. Put a 0 here, 0 minus 4 is -4. If I put a 10 here, 10 plus 1 is 11. And a 1 in for y would be -3 minus 4 is -7. Plot those 2 points. 2, -4. 11, -7. My vertical asymptote is at +1. So it should look like this. Why is this one going the opposite way? Why is this one going, making an arc that way, and this one's coming down the other way? Because of that negative right there, it reflects across the x-axis. So it translates, look at this, inside with the x, 1 unit right, it translates 4 units down. It has a vertical stretch by a factor of 3 from right there, and it reflects across the x-axis. My domain, x such that x is greater than 1. In my range, y such that all real numbers. Okay, for your homework, you're going to do problems 3 through 11. 3 through 11.